welcome back to Impossible Creatures. I've been thinking so much about this book. I'm making so many predictions. I know that you all are too. I wish I could hear all of your awesome ideas about what you think is going to happen next. We're dealing with these sphinxes, these really intelligent creatures, and I cannot wait to get back into our story. Our chapter today, Millie, no, oh dear. Our chapter today is called The Man Who Said No. So let's see what is going on. I wonder who the man is. It could be a few different people. Let's get into it. At last, though, as the sun began to dip behind the mountain range to their left, Nara Virala turned to the humans. Tell me now. Tell me what you have come to ask. So now it's their big chance. Nighthand looked at Irian. Millie, you want to come up here? I've got a little friend. Come here, Granny. Oh, come here. But it was Mal who spoke. She did so carefully and honestly. She told the Sphinx the whole story ending. So we want to know what has happened to the Glimmery. Millie, no. Millie, hey. No, ma'am. Goodness sakes. This is a little distracting. Trying to read with Puppy. Millie, where's your ball? Okay, we're gonna have to move locations. This is not working. Be right back, and we've moved locations, so hopefully Millie won't get into too much trouble up here in the rec room. Okay, so Mal is speaking. She did so carefully and honestly. She told the Sphinx the whole story ending. So we want to know what has happened to the Glimmery. Why are dragons attacking and Kraken leaving their waters? I wonder what she's chewing on. What are you chewing on, Mills? Safe or not safe? Millie, what are you chewing on? Oh, okay, that's safe. That's a good girl. Good girl. Okay. The Sphinx's great eyes swept over the company. The story is a hard one. It starts long ago. Mal and Christopher sat next to each other, waiting. Gelafin stretched himself in Mal's lap. Do you know how the protection around the archipelago was made? Mal nodded, but Christopher shook his head. It was 3,000 years ago. Okay, so we're really going to get into the backstory of the history of the archipelago, which I've been dying to know more about. The Immortal, a brave woman known as Haletha of Antioch, made the decision to protect us from the relentless destruction caused by humankind. That's very sad. She chose to cut off the archipelago from the rest of the world. She used the Glimmery tree, from which the first magic grew, the strongest power there is, greater than that of any human or magical creature, power beyond all power, to place a barrier between the islands and the rest of the world. It allowed the magic to be concentrated there. Oh, sorry, not there, but here. Here it is, thick enough in the soil and air for the creatures to thrive and live long, noble lives. We ourselves, we sphinxes, depend on it. But as the millennia passed by, it became clear there was a risk. Every few centuries, some charlatan, some crawling, vicious soul would try to get close to the Glimmery tree, to steal it, to take the power for their own, to conjure the greatest magic, to command a power beyond human power. It was a constant battle to keep it safe. So, many hundreds of years later, the Immortal, by that time a man named Almed Telos, a slow-voiced gentleman of great tenacity and care, built a maze around the tree. He went into the non-magical world the Immortal has often traveled to learn about the world in its entirety and spent whole lives in the non-magical continents. That's where we live. And found a single man of genius. He was a man of many parts, a scholar, an artist, an engineer, an architect, a man of peace, and a man of war. His name was Leonardo da Vinci, who, as I think many of you know, is one of our world's most profound artists. He's done amazing paintings, amazing work. He's passed now. Leonardo, together with his cousin Enzo da Vinci, the finest stonemason in the world, were hailed as the greatest architects of their day, experts in the building of the most sophisticated fortifications and city walls. Leonardo drew up a master plan. He would, he said, build an impossible maze, a maze so complex that it could never be solved by those who did not know the way. The glimmery tree grows in a cavern deep. Are you guys watching this happen like a movie? I'm very excited about the picture that this is conjuring up. So excited that I forgot what sentence we were in. Trees grow in a cavern deep in the warmth of the earth. He cut the maze into the rock. He set it with traps and tricks and hidden perils, and safe at the heart of its deep mystery, the tree would flourish, forever secure. It was vital, therefore, that only the immortal knew the way through the maze. So, once it was built, the two men agreed to take a potion that would make them forget. It was made by a centaur. The centaurs alone know how to make potions of such power, and the two men took it and forgot. Leonardo and Enzo returned to their homes, infinitely richer, remembering nothing of what they had done. Since then, once in each lifetime, the immortal enters the maze. They go to the tree, they tend to its roots, they make sure that it still thrives, and they take one this is a big word that clearly I've not seen before, but I'm going to use my strategies to decode it. Infinitesimally, small piece, which is teeny tiny, like almost not even there. Small piece of bark and eat it. Their skin will smell very faintly of the glimmery. Which is all very well, Nighthand burst in. But this tells us nothing new. There is no immortal. There hasn't been for 100 years. Nobody knows why. I think we know differently. Naravitala inclined her great white freckled head. Perhaps very few humans know why, but some creatures do. We Sphinxes take in news from everything. The Ratatoskas, the stars, the naiads, the dryads, the nereids, even the manticores. Lily's being a puppy. Mal made a face of fear and disgust. The manticores know a great deal, said Naravirala, though they rarely choose to do anything helpful with their knowledge, and from these sources we have pieced together what happened 100 years ago. We have written in the stone. What happened was this. At every death, the immortal is reborn within moments. The baby is exhausting for its parents. All human babies are, of course. But the immortal, as a baby, is exceptionally so. They say it laughs and weeps without pause for the first 3 years. 100 years ago, the immortal was born male in the north of Lithia. His name was Marik. The wind was picking up. The sun had dropped below the mountain range, and it was growing suddenly fiercely cold. Mal took off her coat and draped it over both their laps. Christopher nodded in thanks. Naravirala went on, slow and clear and heavy-voiced. As Marik grew to be an adult, he grew more and more furious at his fate, at what he was. He loathed the immortal knowledge that had been laid on him. He loathed that he could forget nothing. At last, he reached a point where he could no longer bear it. He looked at the world. He saw its cruelty and its sorrow, its bloodshed. He asked, "Is it all the archipelago and the world beyond? Is it the angry thing of the world?" His whole body revolted. His whole heart told him, no, he said no. No to his memories, no to knowledge, no to the terrible responsibility that comes with knowledge. So that was his great cry, no to the world. He told his family that he was renouncing his gift. Everyone, of course, said that it was just mad, but impossible. You cannot cease to be the immortal. But Marik was determined. He remembered the potion of forgetting that Leonardo and Enzo da Vinci had taken. He went to the centaurs. There is a herd on the island of Antioch who passed the secret of the potion from son to daughter to son. He paid them untold amounts of gold to make the potion, a potion stronger than any that had ever been made. He put everything in order. There is a palace that an immortal built 600 years ago, the finest building in the archipelago. Marique closed it up, locked the doors, and sent away the people. There was a boat, a dryad wood ship, and it hauled it out of the water and put it away. And he hauled it out of the water and put it away. Another older male sphinx broke in. It was so. He put it in the dining room and left the palace for time to eat it. And then he took the potion and he forgot. Nara Virala blinked, and there was the weight of misery in the blink. It was a great, determined forgetting. He knew when he drank it that not only he, but all the immortals who came after him would not know they were immortal. Do you understand? There has been at least 2 or 3 immortals since then, perhaps more, who were born and died unknowing. They did not know who and what they were. They lived as ordinary babies, ordinary children, ordinary adults. Can it be undone? Said Christopher. If you want. It is possible. There is an anecdote to the potion. So there is, as there is to all potions. No one has ever taken it, but it could be made. And without the protection, the knowledge, the watchful and iron-willed care of the immortal, the archipelago is vulnerable. There is nobody. Oops, sorry, I forgot to show you this illustration of, you can see Maul and Christopher sitting before the sphinxes. It's kind of an eerie illustration. Can enter the maze to see that all is well with the glimmery tree. There is nobody whose sole job is the protection of what we decide. Of what we cherish. And we have come to believe that the worst has happened. We have come to believe, through the stars and the waters and through messages that reach us, that something has made its way into the maze. The tree is dying or being consumed. But that's impossible, said Nighthand. It should be. No one had knowledge of the maze but the immortal, but it is so. What will happen? Asked Maul, at the same time as Christopher said, what if the glimmery tree is destroyed? The protection for the islands will vanish. The creatures will not live for long without the glint. Everything that you have seen and loved will die. The griffins are, as you know, already nearly lost. She bowed her head to Gelifin. The unicorns, the dragons, the ratatoskas, she paused and added, the sphinxes, we too, and the outer lands, they would be at the mercy of such power. Belahi, behind her, made a tight, miserable noise in his throat. He moved to be closer to his mother. What happened to the immortal man? To Marique, asked Christopher. To the man who said no? Oh, now I understand why the name of this chapter is The Man Who Said No. He woke the next day, blank with forgetting. It took him some time to recover from the potion. For a month he could not walk, and then he made himself a life of sorts. He remained a wary kind of person, afraid of curiosity. He died young in an accident at sea, and after that, we simply do not know who the immortal is. We do not know in whose body the soul of all eternities reside. So if you want to find out what is at the heart of the maze, if you wish to know what has happened to make the glimmery fail, first you must find the immortal. Find the soul who was born of the first apple of the first tree and who has known humanity since the beginning. That is the end of the chapter. That is very intense. We have an eruption of violence coming next, which is going to, I'm sure, be packed with action. And when we're thinking about the immortal, I think our prediction that we made when we were still in school together is that Maul is the immortal, or Christopher. And I guess in order for them to know the truth, they're going to have to take the anecdotes, which would help them remember who they really are. Yikes. So we'll see what happens. Our next chapter is going to be action-packed. I love, love, love reading with you all. Thanks for being flexible and patient as I monitor this puppy. I don't think she's making a cameo today. She's very busy chewing on all of her toys. But I will try to pop her in tomorrow when we read together. I hope you guys do something fun today. Hope you know how much I love you, and I'm so proud of you for continuing this book together. And I can't wait to read with you soon. Love you guys.